topic we are going to start is nothing but is keys. Keys are an attribute or a collection of attributes that uniquely identifies an entity among an entity set. Example, when you have records in your database, you will have your entities in your rows and your attributes in your column. So when I want to uniquely choose a record, example, in a class of 60 students, I want to identify each and every student uniquely. I cannot use their name or their date of birth or something like that. Why? Because it is quite hard to uniquely identify, because multiple people can share the same names or they can have the same father names or something like that. You can ask me, Aadhaar can be a unique ID. Yes, Aadhaar can be a unique ID, but it cannot be used for all types of, because we will have NRI students, we will have students who are students from other countries who don't have an Aadhaar card. So we need to create a key that is unique for us to identify each and every student in a particular class. So I can have students who are from India who I can uniquely identify through Aadhaar. But on the other hand, if I have an NRI or an OCI card person, or I have a foreign student, in that case, I cannot use an Aadhaar as a unique key. In that case, you can ask me, I can use a passport number. But still, if you see, all these are different and the formats for each of them are different. So in that case, we need to create a key that is, I can uniquely identify each and every student in that class. Similarly, even the same goes for an employee table, same goes for a teacher table, or in case I want to say the ticketing process that is happening in flights or trains or anything, the same concept. I want to uniquely identify each and every person who has booked the ticket. I have to use a unique ID, and that is called as a key. There are different types of keys. We are going to see each and every key separately. So the keys that we are going to see today are primary key, super key, candidate key, foreign key, and composite key. Primary key refers to a column or a set of columns of a table that helps us to identify all the records uniquely present in the table. Mostly we say primary key is a single attribute value, but on the other hand, the same goes for your super key. Only thing is that I can combine multiple attributes to actually use it. So I'm going to give you an example. I'm having three tables. Example, student table. So student, I'm having it as an entity where I uniquely identify the student with the register number. Where when I underline the register number, it means it is the primary key. Then I have department as a table, and in this I can uniquely identify department, each department through its department ID. Same thing, I can have a course where I can represent each and every course, like BTech Computer Science, BTech Electronic Communication, like that, with a course ID. When I want to uniquely identify a student based on all these parameters, I can combine all these entities together in a table of a student, because a student who is studying in any college will have a register number, the department ID to know which department that student belongs to, and the course that particular student is studying to know which course they are a part of it. When I combine all of these, I can call it as super key. Now, But in case if I want to uniquely identify a student, I am going to use only one entity of it, which is nothing but the register number. So register number becomes the primary key to uniquely identify a student. Whereas when I use combined register number, department ID and course ID, still I can identify the student, and these set of keys are going to be called as super key. Now, following this, we are going to see one more thing called as candidate key. Here in candidate key, what is the main thing is that this is nothing but the same thing. I'm going to uniquely identify a row in a particular table. We can select a primary key from a candidate key. That is, it will be part of my super key. So in this one, I can take register number and department ID as a candidate key, or I can even take register number and course ID as a candidate key. So this, if you see, is another form of, so if you see, from a super key I can derive a candidate key because it's a subset. From a candidate key I can derive a primary key, which is a single valued attribute that represents a record uniquely in the table. Now the next one, if you see, is going to be the foreign key. Foreign key is nothing but when two tables are connected through a relationship, they need to be combined through some extra thing. So in this case, if you see, student is having register number as their primary key and department is having a department ID. When I want to identify the student's details and all, I need to give the information of the department. Example, student is having multiple things like student name, age, date of birth, address, all these as their entity, plus they want to know the detail and the course. I can use this as a primary key in that particular table. My table will have register number, which will become the primary key, and department ID, which will become the foreign key, and all the other attributes that are there. So from the department table, I can fetch, when I am connecting these two tables, I can get the department name, the location of the department, and the HOD of the department. So all these things I can combine in these two tables through a key called as department ID, which is a primary key in the department table and a foreign key in the student table. So we have seen 4 keys: primary key, super key, candidate key, and foreign key. The next one, if you see, is nothing but relationship. Relationships are nothing but when two entities are having a common association, we call them as relationship. A teacher teaches the student. A student studies in the department. So we can have a relationship, and that relationship is represented as a diamond box. The next one, if you see, is mapping cardinality. That is, these entities can have association, and the amount of relationships they have among them, we are going to represent it as cardinality. Example, a student can study only one course. That, if you see, is going to be many-to-one relationship, because many students can study the same course. But on the other hand, if I want to say a student is having one parent, then it will become one-to-one relationship. When I want to have entities, this as entity 1 and this as entity 2, the relationship they having individually is called as one-to-one, when there is no other connection between these entities. But on the other hand, example, many students are studying a single course. One-to-many or many-to-one can be the other relationships. Also, we can have something called as many-to-many relationship. The way we are going to represent is nothing but, when I want to represent one-to-one, we have a line which will denote 1 to 1. In case of 1 to many, we have a line, we denote it as 1m. In case of many to 1, m1. And for many to many, m and m. This is how we represent our cardinality.